big of a crowd or something.
Yeah, it's all right, though. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Let me thank you guys for being with us this morning. As the speaker would say, it's another great day in Georgia. I'm proud to be here with our great First Lady, Marty Kemp. I also want to thank our current Public Service Commission Chairman Jason Shaw and former Chairman and Commissioner Bubba McDonald for being with us. I know Commissioner Fitz Johnson, Tricia Pridemore, and Tim Eccles wanted to be here with us today, but they had prior scheduling conflicts. Also wanted to acknowledge Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones and Speaker John Burns, who also wanted to be with us today, but unfortunately could not be here. And I know that, like me, they appreciate the Public Service Commission's great partnership as we work to keep Georgia the best place to call home. All of these leaders commit their time and talent to making our state better. In Monday's announcement that Georgia Power will freeze base rates for 3 years is a direct result of that good work. It is also a result of what we've accomplished working together to make Georgia the best state for opportunity, for business, and for quality of life. In just about any economic development project that we go after as a state, our utility providers are at the table and are active partners in bringing jobs and investments to our state. As constitutional officers, the PSC members are also great partners in that constant work. And the result, as I've said many times over the last several months, we've seen over 193,000 job announcements and over $90 billion of investment committed to Georgia just since 2019. And that's just including the projects where the state played a hand. It doesn't account for all the organic growth that's happening all across the state, including right here in our capital city of Atlanta. That unprecedented growth is part of why we've been able to cut our state income tax rate at historic levels, why we've returned billions of dollars to hardworking Georgians through tax refunds, multiple suspensions of the state gas tax, and a homestead tax exemption, and why we've been able to make generational infrastructure investments across the state. That kind of long-term thinking is shared by our utility partners, and that's why energy in the state of Georgia is so reliable, plentiful, and will remain so for decades to come. Plant Vogtle reactors 3 and 4 are a perfect example of how that kind of commitment benefits both Georgia households and employers. As the first nuclear reactors built in the entire country in over 30 years, not only do these assets set us apart from the competition, their addition to units 1 and 2 also make Georgia the single largest producer of clean energy in the country. That's good news for every person in our state, because it means more jobs and investment, like the data centers on their way to Georgia because of our reliable policies, or the job announcements made all over the state since I took office. That includes the Duracell Research and Development Headquarters project we announced earlier this year, the Walmart milk processing facility coming to Valdosta that we announced last year, bringing 400 new jobs, the Automated Warehouse Services Distribution Facility in Jackson that we just announced last October, or any other project secured because we have such good utility partners. Investments like that are part of why this agreement to freeze rates is possible, which ultimately means more relief for hardworking families still dealing with high prices brought on by bad policies of the former administration. While other states are raising their rates to make ends meet, we are freezing ours because of smart choices by our utility providers, the people you see here beside me, and many other leaders around the state. Our rates are stable, even in the midst of unprecedented growth, because we have a strong, reliable energy grid and strong partners in both the private and public sectors. Coupled with falling gas prices, this rate freeze will help Georgia families in a time when they need it most, after historic inflation and storms have challenged many people's day-to-day lives. So again, I want to thank our utility providers, the Public Service Commission members who work hard to keep us the #1 for opportunity, and all the partners throughout the state you don't see here with us today that have made this agreement possible. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Shaw for some brief remarks. Chairman?
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. First Lady Kemp, I appreciate y'all having us here today, and thanks to everyone for showing up. On behalf of Commissioner McDonald and myself and our colleagues, Commissioners Pridemore, Eccles, and Johnson, who couldn't be here, unfortunately, we say thank y'all for allowing us to do what we do best. Lord, this state, thanks to the leadership of the governor and prior governors and the General Assembly, has put us in a position like we've never seen before with regards to the policies that have been enacted that have put us in this growth position, and we're able to take advantage of that. And at the Public Service Commission, we're just proud to play a role in that and with regards to economic development. We would never have this kind of reputation and this designation that we've maintained for so long now without reliable utilities and competitive rates. And that's what we guarantee you. That's what we work on every day with our hardworking staff. We've got Tom Bond and Tom Krause here. Tom Bond's our Director of Utilities that's been with us so long. He's worked really hard on this agreement. This is a pending decision, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details on it, but if you want to, Tom is here. But I can tell you this, all of our neighboring states that are regulated around us are going through massive rate increases right now. We certainly have not been immune to inflationary pressures with regards to electric and energy prices in this country. And energy prices have been higher during this inflationary period than even groceries that we all see and feel every day. But we have not been immune to that in Georgia. We've invested in our grid and our system like we've never done before so that we can accommodate this level of growth, and that's why we have the capacity and we're in the position, the unique position, to take advantage of this, and that's one of the reasons why these companies are coming to Georgia, and we're proud of that. We're proud to be the #1 state in the country for business, and we're going to continue to work hard to maintain that reputation and do everything it takes, and what it takes is reliability and affordability. Reliability is what we've been focused on with these massive investments. The governor mentioned Flint Vogel. That was not easy. Folks like Commissioner McDonald here were here when those decisions were made a long time ago, and they're paying dividends for us now, as tough as it's been. But today I'm proud to stand here with you, Governor, and all of you, and say that we are proud of the hard work that our staff has done with working with all the utilities in our state to keep us in this position. And we feel like you know, at the end of the day, we're going to have, as always, an open and transparent process of hearing this agreement. We're going to have the chance over the next few weeks to meet with all the stakeholders. If anyone has concerns about this agreement, we're going to sit down as we learn more about it ourselves and have that kind of normal open dialogue that we have at the PSC. So I appreciate everybody's hard work in this. We thank Georgia Power Company for working so hard with our staff to come to this agreement, because like I said, rates are going up all around us. Maryland just announced today that their rates will be going up $16 a month effective June the 1st. So to freeze base rates for 3 years is a very big deal for our state, and it's good for Georgians, and we're very proud, and we appreciate you, Governor, for your leadership and giving us the opportunity to do our job. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chairman Shaw, Commissioner McDonald. Thank you guys for being here. The rest of the Public Service Commission, the staff who's worked very hard on this, we appreciate y'all so much being part of Team Georgia. With that, we'll open it up for a few questions. Well, I mean, I'll let the chairman, I don't know if he can speak much to that or not. I can just tell you from my perspective, I would think the broad base of the public would be good with freezing rates here in our state for the next 3 years when you see literally states all over the country that are raising rates.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Governor. And the fact of the matter is we were looking at a normal cycle for a rate case, which would have been, I guarantee you, a rate increase request from Georgia Power Company, our investor-owned utility. So the fact that we're standing here not going into a debate and a hearing process for a rate increase we're in a much better situation. So that same process will play out now that this agreement has been filed before the Commission. So now the process begins. We just passed a procedure and scheduling order for the hearing schedule yesterday. So the hearings will be conducted on June the 26th with a vote on that decision on July the 1st. So yeah, now the process begins. Our doors are open along with our public interest staff to meet with interested stakeholders as we always do. We've already begun that process, so we look forward to continuing to dive into this and addressing any questions that those stakeholders might have. Thank you.
I'll also just add that, look, from my perspective as, kind of the Chief Economic Development salesperson for the state on behalf of Commissioner Pat Wilson and the team at the Georgia Department of Economic Development, like once this is finalized and even while it's going through the process, it is a huge talking point for us as we compete with states like Texas and Tennessee and our neighbors in South Carolina, Alabama, and so on. And so that's why, this decision is so important for our business environment as we move forward in the state. And as we're continuing to grow and bringing more customers online, it's allowing the utilities and the Public Service Commission to continue to be in a pro-growth mode, to be able to continue to work on transmission, generation, to meet the needs that are out there. Not every state has the ability to do that right now. And if they don't have that ability, then it limits the number of places that people can look to locate or to expand. And that's why Georgia's going to be in a great place, not only today, but for the next 3 to 4 years. Arch. Well, I'll let the chairman speak to that. Look, I think that's perfectly reasonable. It's been part of the process in the past, and I think Georgians understand that we had, I would say, I know for a fact it's the largest storm we've ever seen in my lifetime, probably one of the largest, if not the largest in Georgia, with the most of people affected. All our utility partners experienced extreme cost. We did in state government. When you think about, we're dealing with that on the National Guard perspective right now, DOT, the Forestry Commission, Department of Natural Resources, State Patrol. Everybody outlaid much more resources that at the end of the day, we got to end up figuring out how to pay for those things. And so I know the public is understanding of that. But I think the good news for right now is rates are going to be frozen. I'll let the chairman add anything else.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, what the governor said about the storm recovery costs, no one can argue that those are reasonable and prudent expenses in the traditional rate-making process. I will add that, like the governor said, that all utilities, whether it was the co-ops, the munis, or the investor-owned utility, have experienced unprecedented expenses with regards to, as someone from South Georgia, 3 hurricanes in 14 months, we've seen it, but Hurricane Helene was by far the worst. The price tag on that is a big one. And we will have they will file something with us next year and allow them to come in, and we'll debate that at that time. We also have a fuel case next year, which is every 3 years. The fuel case we had, the last one was a really rough one with a very large number for unrecovered expenses for fuel costs because of what had happened during that period. So we look forward to having another fuel case next year, which I think will be a lot better situation than we were in 2 years ago. So all that will take place next year. But yeah, our co-ops in the state, our member-owned co-ops, are eligible for FEMA reimbursement up to a percentage, and they're aggressively trying to get that. That takes time as well. But our investor-owned utility here will have to forego, as a result of this agreement, trying to come to us to put all of this infrastructure cost that they're making into the rate base. But we will, according to the staff agreement that we will take up soon, that they will be able to come in and have a case to deal just specifically with storm recovery cost. Well, I'll say this as far as timing, the prior rate case, the 22 rate case, was actually up for an extension. So the normal traditional cycle of every 3 years, and as you know, we're in the integrated resource plan cycle now with more hearings happening next week on that one. So that's a pending decision as well. But traditionally, we go straight into a rate case after an IRP. So this agreement delays that and it freezes that for 3 years. So the timing is in line with exactly where we would be. So the company would have to be filing something, either a rate case or something like this, dealing with a rate case at this time anyway. Well, the legislatures who set the schedule for the elections, and that was done, I guess, last year, so that was done by them. But the cycle that we're under with regards to rates is we're in the normal cycle.
This is another question for Commissioner Shaw. Following up on this question, while this is during the normal schedule for rate cases, I'm curious why, WAB, we did have conversations with commissioners earlier this week about why we're having this, big announcement before any of the, this has been confirmed. I'm curious, what is the importance of having a press conference with the governor during an election year before this decision has actually been made? Are we making promises to Georgians, or do you think this might put any pressure on folks to come to an agreement?
Well, I would just say that we're here having a press conference because this is good news. I know there's been some in the media have been very critical when the Public Service Commission has raised rates. It's been kind of perplexing to me that there's some in the media that are now complaining that we're freezing rates. But anyway, I think this is actually good news to sell for our state. The timing to me doesn't matter. We're talking about an upcoming primary election for down ballot offices that'll have to be decided in November. So, we're not, basing our calendars around here on what political elections coming up. They're happening all the time, special elections and other things. We're sharing good news when we got it. I'm going to be selling this good news not only around the country but around the world. When you look at energy prices in Europe and around the world, and you look at energy prices in other states like Maryland, who 2 years ago had a budget surplus, and now they have a budget deficit and are raising taxes. And the Speaker and the Lieutenant Governor and I were just talking the other day about how here in Georgia this session we were given a tax rebate. We were cutting personal and business tax. I would remind people that most of the Democrats voted against cutting the business tax in the state. And we have continued to return money to taxpayers, and we've made one-time generational investments with cash. We are going to sell that news all day, every day, because it is positioning our state to continue to be the #1 state in the country for business, and in my mind, the #1 state to live, work, and raise our families. Because at the end of the day, this is about hardworking Georgians. This is about keeping their rates stable in a high-cost environment that they've seen because of bad policies over the last 4 years. This is about them having an opportunity for themselves or their children or their grandchildren to have a better paying job than other states around us that comes with benefits and other good qualities of life, not just in our capital city of Atlanta, but literally all over our state when you think about the announcements and historic investment that we've seen outside of the 12 metro counties.
Our diversity in generation makes a big difference in reliability.
You want to talk to them?
Regarding data centers, the PSC will tower, what is this rate activity regarding cost sharing data centers?
Well, you're referring, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, to the recent changes we made that we adopted to our rules and regulations as it pertains to how we deal with large load customers like data centers. So we did not limit that to just data centers. Our new rule says any customer over 100 megawatts or greater, which is what we're seeing more of as a result of data centers in particular. But our state's experiencing unprecedented load growth as a result of a massive industrial development, not just data centers. So that rule that we adopted, that staff worked really hard on again, is part of the reason we're able to stand here today, in my opinion, and say that we're able to do this that other states aren't able to do, because we're able to show that the revenue from these large load customers is indeed putting downward pressure on rates for others. And quite frankly, the fact that a lot of other states, I'll use the co-op in South Carolina, just in the last few days have announced that they're basically taking what we're doing and copying it there. I think folks are recognizing that we've struck a good balance there once again with regards to how we're dealing with this growth, and I think at the end of the day, it allows us to continue to reliably serve them. It allows us to reliably, deal with storms that we've been dealing with. Because at the end of the day, when we have these kind of storms, I can tell you, when people were calling me, they weren't calling about their bill. They were calling about how long it's going to take to get service. And I'll tell you this, our utilities in this state have gotten really good at dealing with these storms. They are the best in the country. We've got the most reliable grid system in the country, and we're going to, through actions like we're working on, with this IRP, we're going to, that's the goal, is to be able to continue that type of level of service.
Also, our diversity in generation makes a big difference when the lights are on. When you go through the nuclear plants that we have, and I still got the bruises from 3 and 4, but we got a great solar program still going on, and by 28, right now we're 5th or 6th in the nation in solar energy, and we don't have the wind consistency to have wind towers, except out to sea and maybe in the top of our mountains. I live in the mountains. I don't want to see those up there personally, but we buy wind from Oklahoma and New Mexico, FOB destination here, cheaper than we could build it.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Chairman, appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for your leadership.